let's talk about this. With the Epstein video and everything else going on today. Not seeing a lot about this guy that's walked into a border patrol center, heavily armed. He was unable to take anyone out, and he was evaporated, which is great to see. A deranged man with a terror slogan spray painted on his car has been neutralized after storming into U.S. Border Patrol building in Texas and opening fire. He was identified as Ryan Lewis Moscada. Just coincidence there on that last name. He approached a Rio Grande Valley sector annex near McAllen Airport nearly early Monday morning. He was 27 years old. He was taken out by the federales. He was armed with an AR, wearing tactical gear when he ambushed Border Patrol agents. There were many, many dozens of rounds fired by the suspect toward the building and agents in the building. He hit nobody. Authorities located his Chevrolet two-door vehicle in the parking lot with the Latin phrase "Cordis Die" spray painted in black on the driver's door. I don't know what that means. Oh, the phrase is used as a name of the anarchist terror group led by Raul Menendez in Call of Duty. McAllen Police Department officer Ismael Garcia, 10-year service, was wounded in the knee during the incident. And it's unknown if he was struck by the shooter or friendly fire, but everybody was okay. I see this spoiler, an aftermarket spoiler installed. I'm going to go ahead and guarantee this person was not white.
What a hoopty mobile.
Yeah, I'm going to guarantee that the shooter was not white. Although there is a white name, Ryan, but not Ryan Luis Mascada. I don't know how to Mascada. I don't really know how to pronounce that person's name. What do you make of this? This is another guy. We have wild rhetoric from the Democrats, literally just saying you need to be willing to die or something like that. I don't know. What do you think?
This guy sounds pretty wacky, pretty out of his mind.
He was from Michigan. Here. He came all the way from Michigan, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like giving these cases a lot of attention because they kind of spur on copycats.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of just whacked out crazy people out there. And that's why I always tell people to kind of learn self-defense and learn how to be there for your family, for your loved ones, and for yourself here. I don't know how politically motivated, but obviously going after the CBP office clearly highlights how this might be something related to, of course, immigration, deportations, or it could just be a loony person just totally just losing their marbles and saying, yeah, this Call of Duty thing's real, which is crazy. I'm surprised Republican lawmakers are not blaming video games for this particular action.
Give it time,
like they did a couple years ago.
Yeah, give it time. The thing is,
I
with
found
these,
that ridiculous. Yeah,
we never really knew anything about the firefighter guy yet either. There's no manifesto there that I know of. We can try if I say, hey Grok, what kind of last name is Mascada? Let's see. Oh, I don't need to tweet it. I just need to use Grok.
Yeah. I mean, do we have an identity? Do we know his social media? And should we even know his social media?
Spanish surname. Linked to Spain.
What a surprise.
Yeah. Doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that he, this was any kind of, maybe it was just a self-deletion by cop decision,
Yeah, maybe because a lot of people do that. And a lot of people are not really familiar with that, but a lot of people decide to self-delete by doing very unhinged, dangerous things in front of police officers who are kind of forced to protect themselves and protect the general public from these type of lunatics that don't want to self-delete but want someone else to do it, which is action, which is so messed up because then the person doing it
usually is left with a bunch of like PTSD.
Yeah, and trauma.
And
Yeah.
trauma
Oh, here's this
that
picture.
they're-
He's an overweight Mexican guy. That's what it looks like.
Yeah. That looks like it.
Yeah. His height
you know-
6'3". The weight's not on here. They blocked out his weight. Isn't
Maybe
that on
he
your
was
driver's
really,
license?
I don't know. Is it? It depends on the
thought
state,
it
though. I
was.
think.
Yeah, Ryan Luis. Yeah, he's Mexican, or Spanish. He was carrying Michigan driver's license. Arrived in a white vehicle. They searched the vehicle. They found several weapons, including additional AR. Here's one thing I never understand, Luke. Doesn't it always seem like they search the vehicle and they find additional weapons? That's almost always the case.
Mm-hmm.
But why didn't you take them with you? I don't understand why they
usually
leave them
they
behind.
have like weird writings on them too. There's always a phenomenon where there's like weird white Sharpie that's written with like these weird kind of cryptic messages with a lot of these type of
that was
mass
true of
events.
the Buffalo shooter, New Zealand
the
shooter.
New Zealand shooter.
Yeah.
In New Zealand they had that major event there, and then they always try to document this to get social media clout and fame. As people are saying in the chat room, he's 27, but he looks like he's 57. And you know, clearly, if you look in the eyes, there, not an individual doing his best.
That looks like SSRI eyes. It definitely does.
Yeah, and sadly, you know, there's a lot of cases like this where people are just absolutely drugged up, and their brains are not what they used to be, and they are just fried in more ways than one.
Yeah, what do you make of the, you know, at some point, you know, with this rhetoric that the Democrats are using? I've never been, and I will continue to not be someone that's like, you know, hey, people have to be held responsible for this. But it's pretty hard to not see at least a light correlation where, you know, you have Maxine Waters saying, hey, you got to go out in the streets. You got to cause trouble. You got to do this. You got to do that. Them. Yeah. And then, like, crazy people hear this. And it's like, did Maxine Waters intend specifically to cause riots? In my opinion, yes. But you could never prove that. Do you think that these lunatics that are using this kind of rhetoric, are they knowing it? Are they doing it knowing that there are people out there that will do insane things? Or are they just being irresponsible?
I think they're being irresponsible. I think anyone who has been around a lot of kind of violence and just insanity in their life never knowingly calls for it. I think a lot of these people are sheltered. I think a lot of them are spoiled. I think a lot of them have first world privileges, and they're extremely freaking lucky to be living in America. I mean, when you travel the world, you just realize how fortunate we are, how rich we are, how lucky we are to be living in America. And I think a lot of these people are living in this kind of make-believe bubble world where it's all kind of make-pretend, it's all fake, it's all WWE style type of wrestling nonsense. But then they don't understand that there's real-life consequences for lunatics out there that decide to take their lives or take the lives of other people through this kind of heated rhetoric. Because you always have a bunch of people talking tough. But I think not enough people on the internet ever were punched in the face. And if they were, and if there were, you know, an understanding of just how gross and disgusting violence is and just how dark and a destructive nature it is, a lot of these people wouldn't be talking as recklessly as they are. And they just do not understand the major kind of consequences.
If you had to pick, to wrap this segment up, if you had to pick one of these lunatics to know the answers of, I'm going to name three. Las Vegas, the Paul Pelosi guy, or who might be another one? The
Orlando nightclub shooter.
Orlando, but Orlando would be one, but he was a Muslim and he hated gays and he was secretly gay. I think that had something to do with it. Let's say the guy that killed all those firefighters, because we don't really know anything about him.
I want to know Las Vegas right away. I think the Las Vegas one has the biggest amount of lore, and the biggest amount of questions surrounding it. Because again, if you look at a lot of the anti-gun people, they were cheerleading this as their event. They were cheerleading this like, yes, we finally have an event where we have to talk about this to ban guns. And then all of them just shut the fuck up in a coordinated way, along with the corporate media. And they were like, crickets. And they're like, yeah, we can't talk about this. Let's forget about this. Let's make sure this story goes away. Because the more you looked at it, there's a weird Saudi connection. There's a weird intel agency connection.
Yeah, there's a story where they choppered someone out. I guess
There's
Wine Wrestling Ralph would be interesting too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That would be another one. But I think the Las Vegas one is the biggest one since it impacted so many people, and the levels of bizarreness, especially when it comes to now, CP being found in the relatives of this alleged shooter, and the inconsistencies of just how all of this kind of transpired in the way that it did. That's another one. I wish we had a competent FBI that would actually.
Well, they're not going to investigate themselves. Yeah, that's part of it.
And they're not going to expose themselves. It's so sad when these new people came in, they just got sucked into this glob, this nasty, disgusting glob of state corruption that they're now all a part of. And, it's just kind of sickening to see.